Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are in the newest Snapshot 20w47a, and this is the first snapshot for 1.17, which is the mountains and the valleys update or something like that. And today we will look at all of the new cool stuff that Mojang has installed for us in this snapshot. So first we have the Amethyst. So we have two forms of amethyst. So one is block of amethyst, and another one is the budding amethyst. So let's just place them down, and you can already hear that they have a very unique sound effect. So I'll just shut up and listen. So they sound a little bit musical in a way, and it can make that sound if you walk on them, break them, place them, or hit them with a projectile. So you can hear the sound. And also, let's shoot a projectile to the block. So you can make those sounds by doing all of those, and all of the notes actually sounds random. You can see each time the note is different, and yeah, so that's the amethyst. So now let's look at the amethyst cluster. So they grow on the budding amethyst, which is this one. You can see that the budding amethyst looks kind of different from the block of amethyst. So this is the block of amethyst, and this is the budding amethyst. You can see there is a darker spot in the middle where the block of amethyst doesn't have that. So they spawn on these clusters. You can see how they look placed down. Oh, and it kind of have a hitbox. Let's see that. Oh, so it's not like grass where you can just walk through it, but it has a hitbox, and you can do this. So right here is the amethyst shard, which is the ore. So let's look at, oh, it's too small that it doesn't even show in your hand, but these amethyst clusters grows, and they grow in 4 stages. So the first stage is the small amethyst bud. It has a slightly smaller hitbox than the fully grown one, and then it grows into a medium amethyst bud, and I believe, yeah, the hitbox also gets a little bit bigger, and it grows into a large amethyst bud, and again it grows in hitbox, and then finally the fully grown amethyst cluster. So they grow in 4 stages. And for the amethyst cluster to actually grow into the fully sized one, you actually have to place them on the budding amethyst. So if you place one of these amethyst buds on the normal block of amethyst, it won't actually grow. So if you want it to grow, place it on a budding amethyst. And apparently you can also place these buds on whatever solid block there is. So let's try a couple. So you can place on whatever full block, as you can see right here, and you apparently can't place them on slabs or stairs. So to grab one of the amethyst shards, like this one, you can actually break the amethyst cluster and it will drop 4 if it is at full stage. So I believe the bots don't drop like that. So let's try to break them with our hands. Oh, that breaking animation is kind of weird. And when you're punching it or just breaking it, it will also create that sound. So to get one of these, you have to use a iron pickaxe or higher. So that means iron pickaxe, diamond pickaxe, gold pickaxe, and also the netherite pickaxe. So you can just break it with a normal iron pickaxe or not. Okay, you have to use so if you break one of these bots, it won't actually drop anything, but you can use your iron pickaxe on a normal amethyst cluster and it will drop 4 amethyst shards. And to get one of these clusters, you can also use a silk touch pickaxe to break it, and you will get a amethyst cluster without it changing into the amethyst shards. And now we have a new structure that is naturally generated, which is the geodes. So this is one of the examples of the geode. Right here we also have some, and looks like it generates quite frequently, which is quite nice. So let's look at one of these amethyst geodes. So the geodes can spawn anywhere in the overworld, underground, and we have a new stone which is called the tuff. This is not it. Let's check. Yeah, so this is the tuff, and it generates outside of the geodes. You can find these as like a outer shell of the geodes, and it wraps all the way around. You can see just like this. It is considered a outer shell of the geodes. And as you can see right here, we also have another new block, which is called the calcite. So the calcite is a second layer to the geodes. So it will be between the tuff, which is the outer layer, and the block of amethyst. So it has 2 layers of shell to it. And finally, it's the inner layer. So the inner layer consists of the block of amethyst and also the budding amethyst. And you can also find some buds just hanging around like this. And apparently they can be placed on the sides, which is kind of cool. So I forgot to mention something, which is if you use a pickaxe with a fortune enchantment, and it depends on your level of the fortune, it will drop a lot more than 4. So 4 is the normal amount that it will drop, and if you have a higher level of fortune, it will drop more. So now let's take a look at how one of these bots grow. So again, if you want them to actually grow and become one of these amethyst clusters, it has to be on the budding amethyst. So on the block of amethyst, it won't work. So in order for them to grow, it has to have either a air block like this, where we have all of the air blocks on all of its sides, or having water also helps. So either you have a air block on the side of the block, which I think is right here, or having water will let the bud grow. So for example, if it is like this, where it doesn't have a air block on the side, or have a water source, or just water on its side, it won't grow. So either you have air block like this or water. So now we have a new item, which is the bundle. So you can think of bundles as like a shulker box, where you can store the item and you can break it and bring it with you. So the concept is a little bit different, but it serves the same purpose. So one of these bundles can store 1 stack worth of items, so that means you can store them, store a full stack of the same item like this, I think, like that. So you have to right click on your bundle. So the bundle, you can use it or just organize in your inventory. As for the shulker box, you have to place it down as a block and then do the sorting. So it is a little bit different, and it also stores a little bit less amount. So one of these only carries 1 stack worth of storage. So just like this, you can see that it actually isn't that great, but what's great about these bundles is that you can actually store multiple items in the same bundle, as long as it still fits in the 1 stack worth amount. So here we have a few examples. So you can store 1 whole stack of item in there, just like that, or you can store half of that amount of wood planks and then the rest as the oak planks. So you can see 2 items in 1 inventory slot, which is quite great. And also you can store half of the oak planks, which are able to stack up to 64. And then you can also store 8 ender pearls like this. So this is considered full. So if the item can be stacked to 64, they will count as 1 slot in the bundle, but if it's only 16, it will be twice that amount, I believe. So if the item can be stacked up to 64, it will take up 1 slot of space. So imagine if the bundle can store 64 slots of something. So one of these 64 will count as 1, like that. So that is 1. And this is 2. So very self-explanatory. But as for the items that are 16, like these ender pearls, and also things like snowball, and just other items like this. So if it is only stackable up to 16, it will actually take up 4 slots. So you can visualize that a little bit. And the bundle can store up to 64 kind of items, as long as they fit in that limit of this storage. So you can store 64 kind of items that are different, and you can still store all of them in one bundle. And as for storing your armors, it again has a different capacity. So if you want to store one of these armors, so for example the helmet, the leggings, and these, so these are the 4 armor, and if you want to store one of the armor into your bundle, it will actually take up all of the 64 slots. So we can no longer store anything else into the bundle. And to take out the items from the bundle out of the bundle, you can actually right click in your inventory like this, or even right click it when you're holding it like this. So next we have the candles. So candle is another one of the new items slash blocks in this snapshot. So in the inventory, it will look like this. and it's just tinted differently like that. So all of the textures are actually the same. So we have 16 different color of candles and also one uncolored variant, which is this normal candle. So for one of these candles, you can actually place 4 in the same block, so kind of like the sea pickle, like that. And you can put up to 4 in the same block, so you cannot place anymore. And unfortunately, you cannot place different colors of candles into one block, which I think would be quite cool, but apparently you just cannot do it. So in the website, it doesn't really tell you how to light these up, but I think you just do this. Yep. You can just right click it with a flint and steel, and you can see that it lights up. And I believe this also it emits light, which it definitely should. Yup, it does emit light. And I believe the more candles you have in the same block, it will emit more light. And let's try something out. I believe this also lights the candle up. Yup, but it's a little bit dramatic. But it does work. Just like that. And also candles can be waterlogged as well, but you cannot light them when they are waterlogged. And now let's look at one of the features that actually a lot of people in this community talked about, but it was never really added into Minecraft. But now you can actually do it. They added the feature where you can store lava into a cauldron. So let's try it out. Just like that. It looks like something that you can see in the one of those clickbait thumbnails on YouTube, because it just doesn't look right. Even now, we're in Minecraft, I promise. And let's see if we can do this. Nope. So you cannot get a bottle of lava. That would be very weird. And apparently they actually also emit redstone signal, but they only emit 1 redstone strength, like this. Kinda sad. The lava is valued less than the water, but I think I understand why, because you cannot just store any level of water into a cauldron, so it would just emit 1 redstone signal because there's only 1 stage. So we again have a new ore, which is the copper ore. So it looks like this, a little bit orangey and also a little bit green like this. And if you break it, it will drop a copper ingot. I don't think you need to smelt them. Let's try it out. So let's break it. Yeah, you have to smelt them. So once you break it and you smelt it, it will turn into one of these copper ingots. And you can craft 9 of these copper ingots in a crafting table into one of these copper blocks. So these are the 4 stages of copper. So these copper blocks will actually oxidize in Minecraft. And let's just take all of the variant of the copper out to show you guys. Okay, so there are too much variant of this, and I kind of got a little bit overwhelmed by this. But there are a lot of different variant of the copper block. So these are some of the examples, and it will oxidize into this stage, which is the lightly weathered stage, and then it will turn into a semi-weathered, and then finally to the weathered copper. And one thing that I noticed is that this block right here, it has a capital K, which I believe it would definitely be fixed in the next snapshot, but I just find it a little bit funny. Somewhere in the code, the programmer just accidentally put a capital K at the end. So now we have a new functionality to the honeycomb, which not a lot of people cared about when it first came out, but now it actually has a functionality. So it apparently can transform one of these normal copper blocks into a waxed copper. So let's try it out. I believe you just right click on them. Nope. Maybe you craft them. Yeah, so you put one of these honeycomb and the copper block into a crafting table like this, or the normal crafting table, and it will be crafted into a waxed copper, which the textures isn't really that distinctive, but it does change a little bit. You can see that the black darker line is a little bit different. And here's an interesting thing about the copper ore. So for now in the snapshot right now, it will spawn like the coal or the iron and other ores. So they spawn randomly in a vein, but they say that it isn't the final decision yet. So maybe they will have a different spawning rule compared to the normal ore like coal, iron, diamonds, and those. So that will be quite interesting, but for now we can only wait for the developer to actually reveal how they will spawn. So the oxidation takes about 50 to 82 Minecraft days in loaded chunks to oxidize. So it is one of these. So it takes 50 to 82 Minecraft days for it to oxidize a single stage. So you can visualize how long it takes to oxidize to the last stage, which is the weathered copper block. Oh, and the functionality for the waxed copper, there is actually a difference between the normal copper block and the waxed copper. So if you wax a copper block and it turns into a waxed copper, it will not oxidize, and you can wax any stages of the copper, and that will not just stop it from oxidizing. So if you want this stage of the copper, you can wait till it's this stage and then wax it, and it will stay this stage forever. So for example, if you want a weathered copper block, you can wax it, and then it will become a waxed weathered copper block. But that doesn't really make sense, because if it's already fully oxidized, why do you want to just wax it? Because it will still stay the same, I believe. Yeah, so it will still stay the same. So if your copper block is already in this last stage, and it just doesn't make sense for you to wax a weathered copper block. And again, we have a new block, which is the lightning rod. To craft them, you need 3 of the copper ingot. So to craft it, you have to put it in a line like this wherever you want, and you can create a lightning rod. So the lightning rod actually has a functionality, and it's not just a decorative block. So the lightning rod will actually attract lightning strikes, and the lightning strikes will strike one of these lightning rods. So one of these lightning rods will attract the thunder. So let's just wait for it to happen.
One eternity later.
Okay, it won't happen. Looks like it doesn't really want to strike one of these awfully placed lightning rods, but they do attract the thunder. So the lightning rod will protect 4 blocks Y level like this, and also 16 blocks on the X and Z coordinates. So it stretches to all 4 sides. And you can just visualize that. And also lightning rods give off a redstone signal when struck by lightning. So we have another one of the new item. We have a lot of item in this snapshot, and this is one of them. So this is called the Spyglass. You can just use this Spyglass to use it as a telescope. So kind of like the Optifine Zoom, but this is actually in-game. So it has this like black thing around the outside, and you can just use it to see faraway things. So unlike the Optifine Zoom, you cannot adjust the zoom, and it will just change into your next inventory slot like that. So kind of worse than the Optifine Zoom, but I mean, it's in Minecraft, so what do you expect? So to craft one of these, you just need 2 copper ingot and 1 amethyst shards, like that. And again, you can place it anywhere you want, and you can create one of these spyglasses. And by the way, they cannot be stacked. And apparently they put this spyglass into Minecraft so that if you want to roleplay with your friends, you can actually do that. Oh, and that looks a little bit weird. What? Oh, I guess it does make sense. But your player will actually do this thing where it holds the telescope in front of your eyes. Or eye, because you're just using one. This video is getting very long, so let's just speed through another new item, which is called the Tinted Glass. So the Tinted Glass is different from the stained glass and also the normal glass because it doesn't allow light to pass through apparently, but you can still see through it. So let's do a little experiment here. So you can see where the client light is and also the server light. So that doesn't really matter because we're in single player world. So you can see the block. You don't want to see the sky because the sky is from the sky and we're testing out the light blocking thing. So right here you can see it is at full light level, which is 14. If you're in the block, it's 15 because the block itself emits 15. So it's the maximum light level. And now let's try this, which is blocking ourselves into this tinted glass. And yeah, it actually blocks light. You can see there is 0 for the block and it blocks light. That is a little bit interesting. Maybe it can be used in farms where in a special way, but for now I still can't think of any usage for this, but maybe it will become handy in the future. So to craft one of these tinted glass, you just need a normal glass and surround it with the amethyst shards. So you can get 2 tinted glass out of it. Okay, so if you have 1 glass in the middle and 4 amethyst shards, it will actually give you 2 tinted glass. So let's try them on the stained glass and see if it works, because it doesn't. Yeah, for some reason it doesn't really work. Maybe they can make them have a different color variant, but I don't know. So you can only use normal glass and amethyst shards to turn them into a tinted glass. My throat is hurting so much. Okay, So another one of the special thing about the tinted glass is that you can punch it with your fist, and you don't need a silk touch pickaxe or whatever silk touch tool you have. And unlike the glass, you can break it with your hand or whatever tool you have that doesn't have silk touch, and it will still drop the tinted glass. So now let's get into the changes for the 20w45a. So now experience orbs can sometimes merge together. Let's see if it does it. Okay, the sometimes in the sentence is actually sometimes because it rarely do it. But this is supposed to improve the performance for 1.17 where there are too much entities of the experience and it will actually lag your game. So now they sometimes merge, so that will definitely improve the performance of the game. Oh, they sometimes merge when there is a large amount. So if you just have a little bit of the experience orbs, it will actually not merge. So I'll just read the whole sentence out. So experience orbs now sometimes merge when in large quantities to improve performance. This does not change the rate at which the player can absorb them. It simply limits the amount of separate orbs floating around in the world. Orbs that merge will gain the lifetime of the most recent created one. So that is the one of the change. And also particles will now appear when piston breaks blocks. So the next change is now you can create one of the path blocks with a shovel, of course, on all types of blocks now, which are the grass, which you previously you can only do it on grass, but now you can also make the path block by right clicking on one of these blocks. So dirt previously cannot be changed into a path block, can now be changed, and for the coarse dirt and also the potzo and also mycelium. So now it's the last change in the snapshot, which is now we can actually place rails in the water like this. And not only that, you can actually also use the minecart underwater. So let's write one of these. Boom. And when you're in water, the minecart will actually slow you down a little bit. Like that. You can see there is clearly slowed down in the water. So yeah. And finally, that's the end of the video. There are actually a lot more stuff like custom server resource pack, technical changes, entity storage, loot tables, fixed bugs in this newest snapshot. And there are a lot of bugs fixed in this snapshot, and also some other more technical things which I won't talk about because my throat is hurting so much. So if you guys want to check it out, you can just hop onto Google or whatever search engine you're using and just search Minecraft Snapshot, this thing right here, and then you can get into a website where you can check the changes, like all of the things that I mentioned just now, and also all of these things that I showcased. So that is gonna do it for today's video. Finally, it's the end, so definitely leave a like and also subscribe because my throat is hurting. I'm Froxy, I'll see you guys in the next video. And also in the future where the snapshots, the newer snapshots get released, I will also do those videos as well. But I might be like about 15 hours late uploading the video. But I just can't do anything because the time zone is just so bad. But anyways, I'll see you guys next video. Bye!